गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्ते पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदम् मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोः कृपा। ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय, सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय, कृष्ण भगवान की जय, गीता माता की जय। हरि ओम। We are discussing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the scriptures, the universal dialogue between the universal person and the universal hearer. And we are discussing 6th chapter, which is concerned with yoga of meditation, how to control the mind and fix it on the central point, which is known as absolute truth and which is ever constant. Lord Krishna gave all the clues how to control the mind and fix it on the self, and all these Arjuna heard with attention, and in the end Arjuna says, "Oh Lord, whatever you said, of course theoretically it is so easy to understand, but practically it is not so easy. Mind is so difficult to be controlled. Chanchalihi manaha Krishna pramathi balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayureva suduskaram." We discussed yesterday about the mind and prana, how they are related and connected with each other, and just as to control the wind is so difficult, so also the mind is simply impossible for common people. But for the yogi who is ever struggling to do it, of course he may, but it is so difficult. He may control, but it is so difficult to control, just as the wind is difficult to be controlled. So Lord Krishna answers to Arjuna's doubts Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Blessed Lord said, Asansayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraha Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena Chagrihate. Lord Krishna also agreed to the doubt of Arjuna. He agreed to it. Yes, Arjuna, undoubtedly. This mind is very difficult to be controlled. And it is so restless. Undoubtedly, O mighty armed Arjuna, the mind is difficult to control and restless, but by practice and by dispassion, it may be restrained. Nothing is impossible in this world. Everything is possible. Maya yam sarvasambhava. Maya can create this Parasakti, Chiti Maharani, the absolute, the supreme power. It can do anything and undo anything. So, the difficulty also is to the last limit, and to control it, to solve it, the difficulties also similarly possible to its limit. The constant or repeated effort to keep the wandering mind steady by constant meditation on the lakshya, the center, ideal, goal or object of meditation. It is abhyas or practice. The same idea or thought of the self or God is constantly repeated. This constant repetition destroys vikshepa or the vacillation of the mind and desires and makes it steady and one-pointed. When we have some problem, what is the process to solve the problem? He has told, that's why you are repeating. When just practically, what do the examiners do when they distribute the question papers to the students in the exam hall? What do they say? Students, oh children, be careful to go through the question very carefully, attentively, again and again. Try to understand the question first. This is the instruction given by all the examiners.
Read first.
Read it again and again. And then, when you understand the question, then only you can be able to solve it. So what does it mean? This is the general practice. This should be done. And you know, there are two ways to solve the problem. Do you know? First of all, one process is from question, go on solving the question and reach at the answer. The other way, the just opposite, because this is a relative world. everything is opposite to each other. Other process also there is in mathematics. If you know the answer somehow or other, then from answer we can come to question and then prove that this is the answer of this question. In geometry also, what we do, if such and such conditions are equal to such and such conditions of the two triangles, then both will be equal in all respect. This is the theorem. You have to prove it. So what do? If it is not so, let us try. Only two things can happen. Either it is right or this is wrong. If it is wrong, let us see. From wrong side if we go and we don't reach at any wrong decision, but we go and reach the exact decision, means the right answer, then it is not wrong, it is right. So two processes are always there. In this way, when you have got some problem, you know all the problems are secondary, the answers are first, and from the answer the questions are made. From the answers the questions are made. Question is not first, the answer is first. From the answers only the questions are made. What do you understand from this? The absolute one is ever present, and the world which is a question mark, that is afterwards. And how does it happen? When you don't know the answer, then only question is before you. This is to be understood thoroughly well. If you know the answer, there is no question. And the vice versa also true. If you know the question, know means you know each and every part of it, then there is no, it dissolves into answers. There is no question, it dissolves into answer. That is the process of solving the question and getting the answer. Did you get the point? When you understand the question dissolves slowly. When you do the process of answering, what happens? Slowly the question dissolves and you are nearing to the answer. So, one should understand the question first. And there is some secret of the question. Don't forget it. The questions are always welcome. Questions means you can take it as a problem, you can take it as difficulties, hurdles, or the barriers, or the beginners. They should come. It is a must. Every question holds the answer within it, and if you get away, if you run away from the question, you will not be able to understand the answer. So it is better to face the question, problem or your difficulties and try to understand the cause of it, the basic cause of it. If you understand the causes, without any cause there is no any effect. So if you can understand the cause, then the effect is before you. So this is how one has to solve all the problems, all the difficulties or questions or mathematics or your lifestyle itself. Every life has innumerable questions, means difficulties, means beginners, problems, miseries. We have to face it, and thereby we get the understanding how to solve it. And don't think by solving one question you have solved everything. When you have solved the question of a particular level, then the more difficult questions are awaiting you. If you have solved all the questions in your exam hall of 6th standard and you have got very good, appreciable marks you have secured, don't think when you are promoted to the 7th class, you will not sit in any exam hall. Don't think so. The harder questions are waiting for you. So, really speaking, the life is nothing but a question. Life itself is a question. And so also is the case with Maya. This world is nothing but a question. Everywhere only problems. And from another angle of vision, if we look at the question or the problem or this Maya, why it is, how it is, when it is, how it is.
Really end of life question mark means.
Yes. The question is because you don't know the answer. It is not that you don't know the answer. If you don't know, how can you get it? You know it, but it is overpowered by your misunderstanding, your something which hides the answer. So, this world is before you. Because you don't know the truth, that is not the case. Really speaking, you know the truth, you are the truth, but somehow you have forgotten it. Who has forgotten? The awareness cannot be unaware. So who forgets? It is forgetfulness forgets. Who forgets? Does the cloud really hide the sun? What happens if the sun is invisible? What happens? The clouds hide your visibility. It cannot hide the sun. It only hides your process of seeing the sun. So your process is process only. It has got no effect on the reality. So it is within itself. It is just like a hurdle, just like a Gorakh Dhanda. You know what is Gorakh Dhanda? Gorakh Dhanda means the best example for practicing concentration. Gorakhnath always gives some puzzle to solve to his students to develop concentration. How? He will mix up all the thin thread, will mix up everything and give to a bundle. He will give to the student to solve it without breaking, without having any knots. Go on solving it. Can you think anything else? There should not be any knots, there should not be any breakage, it should be continuous. It is one thread only. So in this way, when you go on solving it, somewhere you want to solve the other side, it is again mixed up. Somewhere you have brought so far, it is so clear, and there will be 2-3 knots. So, so it is within itself. It has got nothing to do with the thread. It is your solving process, which is by itself puzzled. So in this way, we are in the relative world, everything is within itself. Nothing is concerned with the absolute truth. All the problems are within the problems only. It is not concerned with the solution. So now coming to our problems, every problem comes to you having some encouragement, some solutions, some understandings and some progressive push forward within it, and one should solve all the problems without running away from it, facing it, and thereby we can have progress in life. This is a common fact, should be understood by every being, every being. This we can learn from nature, from natural processes we can learn. Nature creates the problems and solves it within itself. From anywhere we can learn it, from the birds, from the animals, from the insects, and from the trees, from the river, from the mountain, from anywhere we can learn this process, if you are sincere and you want to learn something. Now coming to our point, mind is difficult, no doubt. Should he leave it like that? So Lord Krishna says, continuous struggle is a must. And we have to understand, we have to find out all the causes, how it has become a complicated problem. So we are going to control the mind. What is mind? All the details Lord Krishna has given, all the analytical details. he has given before. How we have to control the mind. First of all, of course, many times we have taken examples from or theories from yoga, Sankhya Yoga or Patanjali Yoga and from other methods also. Mind is nothing but a flow of thought waves, and thought waves are created by the wind god, that is prana, the energy, and one energy is transferred into the another energy. So the pranic energy, the vital energy, changes itself into the thought waves, and it is called the mental process. Mind is a process, mind is nothing, something, one ID. It is not one identity, it is a process. And it is flow of thought waves. And waves means it cannot be stable, it has to be unstable. And if one is created, then others are bound to be created, because it creates some imbalanced state over the balanced state. So once it is imbalanced, it will go on and on. So it is ever going a process. So how difficult it is to be controlled. So what is the cause? सांझे आपका कुर्सी इधर खाली है. So the root cause, we shall see further, afterwards we shall see. For an effect, how many causes are responsible? In Yoga Vasita also we are discussing every day nowadays. In Gita we shall see afterwards, and some process already Lord Krishna has explained to us. For one incident, there will be so many causes responsible. Adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha prithak vidhan vividhascha prithak chesta daiva chayatra panchamam. He has given us 5 major causes, which has got sub-causes also so many. If we go to see all the details of it, we reach to the conclusion that the whole world, every atom should get together to have some incident. All the world has to take part in it. And that's why they say, if a butterfly flaps here, on the other side of the universe there will be tsunamis, there will be drastic dissolutions, tsunamis. But why does it not happen? Why does it not happen? So many butterflies we see, they flap here in our garden. Why? There is no destruction in the universe. You see, everywhere so many cycles are going on. One is acting against the other. You know, this is relative world. So everything is against other. Everything is compared with other, means everything has its influence, its you see, effects on the other. If two are there, see, two means the world, pairs of opposites. That constitutes the whole creation. If one is there is no question. If two are there, so one is related with the other, and one has the effect or influence or the relationship or dependency of the other, on the other. All these facts, this is related with this is affected by this is dependent on this. In every way, one is related with the other. So the whole world is one only. You cannot say you are different from this world. If one cell is not working in your body, you are declared to be a patient. All the cells, all the nerve systems, they should act properly in proper way. Then only you are a diseaseless person. You are at ease, or else you are diseased. You are diseased. So what we mean, what we get from all these analysis, you see, we have to find out the cause of the problem, and then it will be easy to solve. We have seen the process of mind, and for this the prana is of course a major cause, and of course the body and the senses and their internal relationships, and also not only mind means it is fourfold, different layers of mind, that means different layer of its influence or activities. The superior than the mind is called intellect, that means the subtler thoughts or the decisive thoughts are called intellect. It is just like two teams fight against each other, some match is going on, and out of the two teams, one will be the winner, that is decided. So in that way, the other two teams, they fight against each other. From there too, there will be one winner, and winner again with the other winner they will play. In this way, decisions are continuously going on. And final is with two only. That is perishable or imperishable. That is called the discriminative power. Discrimination. When the mind works and the decisions are taken, so that process is called, subtler process is called intellect, And when the intellect becomes sharper and sharper, that means more decisive and more decisive. That means more subtler and subtler, more purer and purer. In this way, when it reaches its semi-final, then we come to final. And then one is the absolute winner. That is the absolute truth, the absolute one without a second. So this is how we have to control the mind also. From one angle. From other angle, when you know the process, then you have to spy it. You have to watch the mind. Mind should not know that it is under the surveillance of CCTV. Then you know all about the mind and how it acts, what are the habitual process. A habit is created by repetition of anything, whether good habit or bad habit. When one thought is repeated again and again, it slowly creates a habit. When the habit is repeated again and again, that becomes our character. Character repeated again and again, that becomes our personality or our fate, and that controls our whole life process. One thought can mold your life. एक आइडिया दुनिया को पलट देगा. This is why it is said, one thought can change your lifestyle. If it is repeated, why we are discussing the same thing is Lord Krishna explaining to us. Repetition, that is called abhyas, habit. Why it is so? Why should we have habit? Because already there are some habits which are not useful for us. This is what we watch and find from the habit of habitual process of the mind, the flow of thought waves. We have cultivated so many unwanted, useless habits since a time immemorial. We have not given any attention to it. As a result, now our mind is so restless. So now the time has come. Lord Krishna is with us, and now, oh Arjuna, get up and have a new beginning. Now have a new beginning. That's how Lord says, I have come here to re-establish my process of nature. Dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. It is his internal process, the purpose to have a new beginning. That's why he is prompting Arjuna, have a new starting. You have so many bad habits. Now you have to take the formula of Raj Yoga replacement, Pratipaksha Bhavana. So the bad habits should be replaced by good habits. So habit, repetition. So abhyas. That's how Lord Krishna comes to say you, my dear Arjuna, nothing is impossible here. I don't disagree with you. that mind is so difficult to be controlled. It is most difficult. Whatever you said, I agree to you. But yet, it is not impossible. Nothing is impossible here. Start now. And don't stop. There is a saying in Hindi, पथि करे अभी कहाँ विश्राम, रुकना तेरा काम नहीं है, चलना तेरा काम, पथि करे अभी कहाँ विश्राम. Unless and until you have reached the goal, there is no question of rest. Untiringly, without any stoppage, you should continue your journey. Yes.
Stop not till the goal is reached. Swami Vivekananda.
Yes, that is how the Vedas say, awake, arise, and stop not till you attain the goal, the sanamaram of your life. Uttisthata jagrata prapya varan nibodhata. So till then there is no rest, because till now you have not rested. You have not given rest to your mind. Why are you so tired now? Get up. Go on without rest. Till now you have done everything without giving rest to your mind. Do you think your deep sleep is a rest? No. Real rest is in meditation. Complete rest, that is called Santi, that is called Samatha, that is called contentment, that is called silence, that is called the absolute oneness, that is called absolute rest. You have not given rest. Now also no rest is given to you. Okay, now don't be dispirited. Now coming to our point, the constant or repeated effort, this repetition of your effort is a must to keep the wandering mind steady by constant meditation on the lakshya or center, ideal, goal or object of meditation. Wherever you try to fix the mind, go on practicing it day and night without stoppage. This is called abhyasa or practice. The same idea or thought of the self or God is constantly repeated day and night. Ahoratran sandadhami. Ahoratran sandadhami. Day and night you must be engaged in contemplating over the truth. No stoppage. Even in your bed, even in your dream, even in your deep sleep, so-called deep sleep, the effort should go on continuously. That is called ceaseless prayer, ceaseless japa, akhand japa, akhand deepak tabhi to hum jalate hain. That indicates your continuity. That should be. It should not be interrupted anywhere. Day and night. There is no day and night for him. You have created this day and night. सखियाँ वो घर सबसे न्यारा जहाँ परम पुरुष हमारा, जहाँ न दीन न रोइन पसारा, जहाँ न पुण्य पाप पसारा. There is neither day nor night. There is no righteousness or scenes. There is no light or darkness. It is something strangely different from all these dualities. So, what to do? Repetition is a must, without stoppage, day and night, continuous. That is otherwise named as nishtha, nishtha, tenacity. चिपको आंदोलन, चिपको be a super glow. And that is how Gurudev also says always, your practice is nothing but attach and detach. Of course now the railways have adopted some new methods, something I came to hear. But previously what do they do? You see, in all the junctions, railway junctions, there will be some extra engine. And its work only to attach some compartments in some train and detach some compartments from some train and take it and join it in some other train. This work only it does. So this is the practice you have to do, attach and detach. Detach from the worldly thoughts, worldly objects, sense objects, and attach it to the Lord. This should go on continuously. This is called withdrawal of mind, uparati. This is called practice of concentration also. See it from any angle, the process is the same. My dear, you cannot go anywhere, you are entrapped. Once you have started it, you cannot be left free. Go on, stop not. This constant repetition destroys vikshepa, or the vacillation of the mind and desires. You know how the desires are obstructive in our ways. Desires are nothing but repeated thoughts, repeated contact with the sense objects by the senses, by the order of mind, and intellect, and your ego and subconscious mind, chitta, everything, my prana also. This is a cooperative society, we have seen it always. Everybody will come forward to cooperate. Everything should be done with a group, teamwork, teamwork. And every moment we are having contact with matra sparsastu kaunteya. Sitoshna sukha dukkha. We have contact with the sense objects, and thereby we fulfill some desires, and thereby we create more desires, and we go on creating habits of contact with the sense objects, and we go on practicing or creating our habits in particular ways. These habits are dangerous. They create the desires, and they create attachment. Attachment is called bondage, and bondage creates problems, miseries, and that is our lifestyle. So mind is ever restless, in fulfilling these desires, and by the angle of Lord Buddha, these desires should be demolished totally. That is called nirvana. In Buddhism, there is no kaivalya, there is no mukti, there is no liberation, there is no freedom, swarajya, etc. Nothing is there. Only nirvana. Nirvana means destruction of all the desires. If the desires are completely destroyed, then mind has no work. So its grandfather will come to sit quietly. Yes, yes. It cannot run. Mind always wants some support of sense objects. Senses are the subordinates and helpers. By the help of these senses, by the contact of the senses with the sense objects, the mind goes on creating habits and having desires more and more. So in this way, eternally it goes on, endlessly. There is no rest for him. So when we understand this process, so by one stroke we can control all these. The senses which are so turbulent, outgoing tendency they have, and the mind also takes support of it, and then the desires are created, and then the attachment. From attachment there is problems. In this way, all these problems will be solved if the contact is cut down. Contact is cut out. What do they do, you know, when there is agitation somewhere in our country, when there is something going on very serious, hard to control, they cut all the contacts. Electricity, this communication methods, and everything, all the contacts they cut down. So no communication, so agitation has to be under control. We should learn from politicians. All the contacts should be stopped all of a sudden. Then what will you do? And that is called vairagya. Vairagya. Vairagya, dispassion. How it happens? When we see all these are destructive, obstructive, they are not useful for us, they are always, they create outgoing tendencies. So naturally we should find fault with all these process. You see, there is a code of conduct, you should not find fault with others. But you see, in spiritual practice, you have to find fault with everyone, not with one or two. The whole world is faulty. Then care a jar for it. Set fire. Kick it. If you go on renouncing, rejecting one by one, there is no end to it, my dear. So just put fire. That is called vairagya, dispassion. It is faulty, it is useless, it is meaningless. We always discuss the meaning and the value of the objects, isn't it? When you know the meaning of the name and the word related with the object, the form, then you value it. When you know it is useless, meaningless, there is no value, so everything you can kick down. This is called vairagya dispassion. This is possible when you find fault with the whole world process. World process means mind process. Don't forget it. There is no world outside somewhere. It is the mind only. Vairagya is dispassion, indifference to sense objects. We are discussing in Yoga Vasishtha class. Yoga Vasishtha and Gita, they go parallel. There is no difference in it. Yes, of course. So, little more. Tomorrow we shall forget this point. You see, every object is object only without having any goodness or badness within it. It is neither good nor bad. It becomes good and bad according to your vision or your relationship with it. How do you relate with objects? Either accept, liking, or disliking, reject, or the medium is indifference. Three types of relationship. So the best is to be indifferent towards it, because liking is also temporary and disliking also is temporary. Nothing is permanent, nothing is continuous. So to have indifference, that is to say, to live at present without having complaint, without having acceptance nor rejection, whatever comes by the way, fulfill the demand of time, space and conditions, situations. And that also, the object also depends upon time. The same object is good at some time and bad at some time. At summer days the fan is so sweet, and in heavy winter night it is so poisonous.
Sweet.
Yes. So the same thing according to time, different situations, different conditions, that becomes good or bad, acceptable or rejectable. So no object has its any particular goodness or badness. It depends upon you, how do you use it, how do you look at it, how do you relate with it. That is how the objects become to you. It is your relationship, your contact. So when you find all the objects of the senses are good for nothing, they have no meaning at all, no value at all, why to accept it? To be indifferent, the means to be away from it, and that is called vairagya, not looking at it. Don't look at it. Ignore maro. Kutti. The children, they fighting and they fight among themselves, and they do kutti, kutti. So this is the best way. That is called dispassion and indifference to sense objects in this world or in the other. That is also we have to see. You see, this world or the others. You see, we shall see it tomorrow in this world and in the other world also. We shall see this point tomorrow, particularly what is in this world and in other world. That means, anyhow, we shall see it tomorrow, but about this vairagya, dispassion or indifference to sense objects in this world or in the other, here or hereafter, seen or unseen, heard or unheard, achieved through constantly looking into the evil in them, dosa drishti, finding fault with the objects. That is a must to create vairagya, dispassion. You will have to train the mind by constant reflection on the immortal reflection of the constancy, the absolute equilibrium, the self, all blissful self. You must make the mind realize the transitory nature of the worldly enjoyments. You must suggest to the mind to look for its enjoyment, not in the perishable and changing external objects, but in the immortal, changeless self within. That is called discrimination. Gradually, the mind will be withdrawn from the external objects. This habit should be strongly cultivated. By repetition, by constant repetition of this habit. All these are useless, all these are useless, all these are useless. This is how we have to train our mind. This is what Lord gives the suggestion to Arjuna. Though he agreed to Arjuna's complaint and suspicion, mind is so turbulent, we cannot control it easily. No doubt, Arjuna, but by practice, by vairagya, everything is possible. Why it is possible? Because we have created all these which should be rejected by practice only, by habit only. So another habit should you start. So these old habits will be overcome. This is the method. So tomorrow we shall see further. This is a very interesting subject, how one should understand to progress in this yogic way, path of meditation. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti शांति शांति। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय। सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। कृष्ण भगवान की जय। गीता माता की जय।